So, as I was saying, statistically, it is safer to give birth at home than in a hospital. And I know that sounds mind-blowing / kind of unbelievable to a lot of people, but it's true. Do a little research and you'll find that it's true. In fact, a lot of the medical interventions that are available at a hospital that seem so life-saving are only necessary because of other medical interventions that are done at the hospital. So basically, they create problems and then they solve them. Like, oh, we saved the day with our medical technology. But the reality is they caused the problem to begin with. For example, Pitocin, in induction of labor. What ends up happening is the baby's not ready to come out, so it causes so the Pitocin causes these very strong, very intense contractions that puts a lot of stress on baby, who's not ready to come out yet. And so the heartbeat ends up being suppressed. And of course, they're monitoring that all the time with their fetal heartbeat monitor. And they say, oh dear, baby's in distress. We need to do a C-section. But of course, the C-section would never have been necessary if they hadn't tried to induce labor to begin with. If they hadn't have used the Pitocin to begin with. There are very, very rare cases where that's necessary. And unfortunately, in most hospitals, it's used all the time, and most of the time for convenience, for the convenience of the staff that works there. The doctors, the nurses, their schedule, their timetable, they need that bed, whatever it may be. So, yeah, that's one of the many reasons, one of the many things that led me to choose to have my third son at home, unassisted. In nature, animals, most mammals, they give birth alone. They go off alone, they hide. Why would they do this? Why would they do this? I don't know, I guess for the same reason that it's probably easier to take a crap when you're alone. You can relax. And to have a child, you kind of need to open and relax and let the baby come out. If you're not relaxed, it's going to be painful. It's going to be forcing the baby to come out rather than allowing the baby to come out naturally. And gravity can do a lot to have the baby come out naturally. So, in most cases, most women can have their baby at home, healthy and safe, and much safer than at a hospital. There are some high-risk cases where you might want to go to a hospital if you're at risk for eclampsia, or if you have diabetes, or if you're obese. Then possibly you might need to go to a hospital. But those cases are pretty rare, and we're very fortunate. We live in a society, we live in a time where you can call the ambulance if something really bad goes wrong. Also, for my preparation, I got a copy of Emergency Childbirth, which is reassuringly small. It's more of a pamphlet than a book. There's really not that much that can go wrong. There isn't. There's shoulder dystocia. That can be very dangerous. But if you know what to look for, you can identify that, and you can take action to prevent anything life-threatening or fatal from happening. It's not that big of a deal. The cord wrapped around the neck, that's not a big deal. You just unwrap the cord. You see it wrapped around the baby's neck when they pop out. You unwrap it, before you push the baby all the way out. What happens most of the time is the baby's head pops out first anyway, and then with the next contraction you push the rest of the baby out. So that's not really that much of a threat. They make it's highly dramatized how big of a threat that is. I know many women personally who have given birth to their babies with the cord wrapped around the neck at home, and they slip their fingers around, unwrap it, and it's not that big of a deal. Even breech birth, there are things that you can look for. If you feel the feet coming, you give birth to the child standing up. You don't pull, and you just wait and you allow the baby to come out on their own. And generally it's not a problem. And if there is a serious problem, if you do have a sign that if you do have something happen that's a sign of a serious problem, go straight to the hospital. It's not like an ego thing. The hospital is great for when you need it, but using it for every situation, it doesn't make any sense. And actually it deprives a woman of a peak experience, a peak rite of passage, a self-actualizing experience that I can't really describe in words. The power and the confidence that I derived from giving birth at home, the peace and the calm, the reassurance, the trust in life that I gained from giving birth at home. It's not something that you can manufacture. You have to go through it. You have to do it. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't really painful. When I went to the hospital, it was painful. There was pain at the hospital. At home, it was like the same feeling, but it was like transmuted, or it was like a transformation, an alchemy from taking this feeling that was pain, and then all of a sudden it's not pain anymore. It's intensity, it's power, it's consuming. It's like an all-consuming fire. You are right there. You're totally present. You're totally in the present moment. Totally living in the now. And as you come into full acceptance of what is in that moment, it becomes beautiful, very beautiful. Going back to animals giving birth alone, Paul was with me all night,